So, when it comes to animated movies, DC are clear when it comes to Marvel. However, this version of Injustice is in itself an injustice. However, what is also an injustice, you see where I was going to go with that? I am wanting to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I've not yet hit my goal. What an injustice that is. So, if you haven't already and you do enjoy the content, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and I would love you forever. So let's get into this. Now I've got to say, like, as I said at the top of this video, when it comes to the animated movies, DC is vastly superior to anything that Marvel has done. When you talk about stuff like the Flashpoint Paradox, when you talk about the Dark Knight Returns, Justice League War, and a whole host of other animated films, like, they're all usually pretty good to great. This one, however, I've got to say, in my own personal opinion, is probably the biggest disappointment out of all of them. Now, for those of you who don't know what Injustice is, it started off, I believe, as a game and then obviously went into a graphic novel where it tells the story essentially of an evil Superman. And naturally, Batman being Batman is the one who is going to go and stop him because, you know, Batman, why wouldn't he? One thing I will say, just before I properly get into this, there will be spoilers for both the game, the graphic novel potentially, as well as the animated film. So if you haven't played the game, I mean, it's been out for fucking ages, go and check it out. It's actually a really good game. The graphic novel, that is also very, very good. The animated movie, don't worry about it. So, from the get-go, with Injustice, this is the game, what happens is the Joker tricks Superman into thinking that he's fighting Doomsday, when in actual fact, it's Lois Lane who's pregnant with his kid. So, naturally, because he's been tricked, it's not just like, oh, Superman, look, that's Doomsday. And it's like, well, no, it's my wife. He thinks it is Doomsday in his head. And when her heart stops, it detonates a bomb that essentially just levels Metropolis at the same time. Naturally, Superman is not very happy about this, so he goes and confronts the Joker and he ends up killing him in quite a brutal fashion. Now obviously, superheroes being superheroes, killing people is not very high up on their list of things to do. Batman especially has a very non-malleable no-kill rule. However, Superman, he takes that plunge and then that spirals into him becoming this evil dictator that tries and rules over all to keep order and peace in the name of justice and try and prevent crime before it even happens. Obviously that's not going to happen, and throughout the game and obviously the graphic novel, Superman starts to really lose his way. Now there's some heroes that side with him, the likes of Wonder Woman, the likes of Green Lantern, the Flash, and then you've got people on the other side with Batman such as Green Arrow who are obviously going to be against it. Now here's the thing, when it comes to the animated movie, all the notes, I guess, are there, but the execution is way, way off. The first complaint that I have is that I think they've changed way too much. I don't begrudge DC for trying something a little bit different, because at this point the majority of people do know what Injustice is. It is one of the most famous DC storylines in the last decade or so. So if you want to, you know, experiment a little bit, cool. But what you don't want to do is change it to the point where it's not even recognizable and it ends up just being this pale comparison of the original material. If you're going to make minor changes, like, I get it, but changing so much fundamentally is just wrong. And one of the main things for me is the way that some of the characters act and respond, and some of them, they're not even in it as much as they should be. The prime example of that, in my opinion, is the Flash. Now in the original game, the Flash is, like I say, very much on Superman's side, but it gets to a point where the Flash is like, yeah, no, actually I don't agree with this anymore. However, in the film, instead of having this story arc for the Flash where he's like, actually, maybe what we're doing is wrong, and seeing him come to that realization, they kill him off in the dumbest fucking way. And when I say they kill him off, this isn't like fairly late on into the film. This is relatively towards the beginning. He gets tricked by the Joker and he ends up getting hacked by a saw, and it's like, he's the fastest man alive. He can essentially perceive everything as if it has stopped because he can move that fast. Why the fuck is he getting caught by a chainsaw or a buzzsaw, whatever it is? Another massive change that I didn't really like was what they did with Wonder Woman. Now, for the majority of the film, Wonder Woman's role is very similar to how it was in the original game or the original story. She's sort of behind Superman, encouraging him, trying to, you know, make him believe that he is doing the right thing. If anything, in the original story, she's an absolute fucking bitch. However, in this version of Injustice, that doesn't last, and Wonder Woman is the one who has a change of heart, and for me, that doesn't work. Like, her dynamic with Superman, it makes you realise that actually Superman, yes, whilst he is in charge and he is doing all of this, she is kind of the main one behind it as well, and if anything is just as bad as him. But like I say, the fact that she's the one who has the change of heart, no. If you're gonna have anybody have a change of heart, why would you make it Wonder Woman, whose original role was to be egging him on, essentially? Another core aspect of the original story that doesn't really rear its head in this is the whole multiverse stuff. Now, I will say, there are alternate versions, or like the good versions of the original characters from different Earths who do turn up in this film, but it doesn't feel like it's a fundamental part of the story, and it just feels like they've done it just because, well, they did it in the original. See, the thing that was so great about the original Injustice was the fact that Batman got so desperate when it came to trying to stop Superman, he's taking heroes from another Earth to try and help him, to the point where there's characters like Green Arrow, who on the Injustice Earth, he's already dead at this point. So they need to bring in characters like him from the other Earth because they need help, and they need, I think there's a bit in the game where Batman's trying to get some kryptonite, and he needs members of the Justice League and their like DNA prints and stuff. Obviously without Green Arrow and some of the other heroes, because they're already with Superman, like he needs all the help he can get, so it's just like, fuck it, what else am I gonna do? But yeah, so there is like another version of Superman who comes into it and stuff, but it doesn't really feel the same way that it did in the original story, and that's a massive shame. Like, I understand that maybe it's a bit too convoluted to bring in heroes from another Earth, and if you want to get rid of that, I don't necessarily approve, but I can understand why. But don't half-arse it either. If anything, that's worse. Like, if you're not too keen on doing the multiverse stuff, focus on the characters that you already have on the Injustice Earth and explore that world, and explore more of why Superman's doing what he's doing, how some of the heroes have fallen. Not just be like, we'll kind of ignore it, but then we'll sort of bring it in at the end, kind of, and nah, didn't work for me. But the biggest thing for me in this film that did not work was Superman. I can't fault the performance, but, and weirdly, he's voiced by Justin Hartley, who played Green Arrow on Smallville, which is quite cool. I think he's one of the only voice cast members in this entire thing that doesn't sound like a load of shit, if I'm totally honest. Joker's awful, especially. Like, that is the biggest culprit of bad voice acting, in my opinion. However, yeah, Superman. In the original game, and I don't like comparing, but I guess you have to because it's the source material. In the original game, Superman is this evil dictator, and he does some nasty fucking shit. He kills Shazam. Now, for those of you who don't get why that's so significant, Shazam is a kid. That is one of the scenes in the game where you really see that, oh shit, Superman has fucking lost it here. Same thing with The Flash. I mean, The Flash sees that and is like, yeah, shit, Superman has lost it here, I can't keep doing this. And so in this, Superman, yeah, he feels like he's the bad guy, but he doesn't feel as dark as the original one, and he doesn't feel like he's that strong in his beliefs. If anything, he just feels like someone who's still just fucking angry. And even though in the original game, yes, Superman is angry, there's a bit more behind it than that. Like, he's just descended into madness, and every single thing that he does is clouded. But it's not just pure anger. Yes, he seems rash in places, but overall he's quite methodical with what he's trying to do. In this, it doesn't feel quite the same, or at least that's the impression that I got. Don't get me wrong, there is some good in this Injustice film. Like, I do enjoy some of the scenes. I do like that they did lift stuff directly from the game and from the graphic novel as well. There's a really funny scene with Harley Quinn and Green Arrow where he's just like, you're in the Arrow Cave, and she's like, why'd you call it the Arrow Cave? Like, surely you'd call it the Quiver because that's where arrows live. And he's like, yep, that's actually better. So you get moments like that, but then you get the stupid shit where, you know, characters die when they shouldn't, or they die in stupid ways. You get characters who were major players in the original who do fuck all in this one. You've got a watered down version of Superman, and the overall story, you may as well have called this something else. And it's a massive shame, because I think out of all the DC animated films that they've done, this was one of the ones that I was the most excited for. and I've ended up being the most disappointed by. And to be honest, I know some people might say, well, maybe your expectations were too high, but fucking hell, it's Injustice. And the bar that DC have set for themselves, like, you expect them to meet it at the very least. So yeah, subpar. I mean, I'll probably just call this something else, but if I ever did a series called Why You Shouldn't Watch, this would be the first episode, because you shouldn't just watch this. Just go and play the original game and also the second one, and go check out the graphic novel, because that is just far superior to anything that this film offers. But anyway, in the comments below though, guys, let me know what you think. The Injustice animated movie from DC. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever it was, talk to me, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more. Social media and Patreon links will be in the description as always, so if you would follow me on any of those things, I'd absolutely love you forever. But until next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye.